Mr. Prime Minister, firstly, thank you for inviting us here for this interaction. I hope you have more of them. I'm sorry to take you back to the 2G scam, although you've said that that we should not be a scam-oriented coverage. And you've taken some very positive steps, as you've just assured us, for getting the wrongdoers of the 2G scam. But just for my better understanding of how we got into this situation, I wanted to understand that you had warned Mr. Raja in November 2007 to consider auctioning the 2G scam on 2007 rates. And he actually disregarded your advice. And later on in 2008, the companies which got the spectrum were sold and at large sums of money, and those values are very much in the public domain. In spite of all this, you appointed him again as the telecom minister. So I'd like to know, what was your thinking behind this? And if I may add another one.
One at a time, I can't handle
okay.
it. Well, let me first deal with what I said to Mr. Raja in a letter that I wrote to him on the 2nd of November 2007. I mentioned in that letter number of concerns which were being expressed, some in the press, some telecom companies used to come and mention them to me. And I listed a number of issues, and I said to him that you must look into these issues and ensure that they are dealt with in a fair and equitable, transparent manner. One of the issues I had asked him to look into was the possibility from legal and technical angle of having an auction of spectrum. Mr. Raja wrote back to me almost on the same day our letters crossed, and he said, I have been absolutely transparent in my dealings. I will be so in the future, and that you have my assurance that I have done nothing and I will do nothing which will not be consistent with the promise that I am making. Now, as far as auction is concerned, he came back to me and he said, auction is something which has not been suggested by TRAI. Also not suggested by the Telecom Commission. And he also said that if we have auction, it would not give a level playing field for the newcomers, because the existing players have got their spectrum free of charge until 10 point something megahertz. And therefore, he said, the TRAI's advice, the Telecom Commission's advice, and his own view was that auctions are not the way forward, at least for 2G spectrum. And he also mentioned in a subsequent letter that he is agreeable to auction 3G spectrum. But with regard to 2G spectrum, he was very clear that we should stay with the then existing approach. And this was also discussed with the Finance Ministry, because in terms of the Cabinet decision of 2003, the pricing and allocation of spectrum was to be settled between the Ministry of Finance and the Telecom Department. Initially, of course, the Finance Ministry did ask for a high price of spectrum, but after many discussions, I think the two ministries agreed that as far as 2G is concerned, we have to live with the present system, particularly with regard to the amount of spectrum that is built and embedded into a license. So this is the background why I did not proceed further with this matter of pricing of spectrum, because if the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Telecom both agree, and they have the obligation in terms of the cabinet decision of 2003 to decide that matter, and also since TRAI is a expert body, Telecom Commission has experts. If all of them were of the same view, I did not feel I was in a position to insist that auctions must be insisted.